And we have Donald Trump Jr., who was in court again this morning. There he is. You hear the protesters chanting, crime family, and that is basically what these people are, a crime family.
It started with a chant outside the courthouse, then exploded on live TV. Jimmy Kimmel exposed a moment that Trump's team likely hoped no one would notice. Next, someone might have called the cops. Why would a late-night joke trigger a real-world response? And what exactly did Jimmy say that hit so hard? You're about to see everything shown here is based on real footage and public reports. No edits, no exaggeration, just the words, the reactions, and what they reveal.
On the other side of humanity's coin, we have Donald Trump Jr., who was in court again this morning. There he is. You hear the protesters chanting, crime family, and that is basically what these people are, a crime family, a very dumb crime family, the Gambozos, if you will, and Don Jr., he's so embarrassing. He's on the stand. He's testifying in this $250 million fraud trial, and he has to compliment. He said his father is an artist with real estate.
If this opening already has you raising an eyebrow, hit subscribe and stay tuned, because we're just getting started. It's not every day you hear someone call their father an artist while under oath in a $250 million fraud trial. But Don Jr. did exactly that, and Jimmy didn't need to twist anything. The crowd outside was already making noise, but inside the studio, Jimmy turned a legal defense into a moment that would echo far beyond the courtroom.
I'm not supposed to rely on a big five accounting firm, like one of the biggest accounting firms in the world. I can pay them millions of dollars. I rely on them to do accounting, but I'm supposed to know more than them. By this logic, insurance companies are going to start suing patients for listening to their doctors. Right? Do you understand? Like, am I supposed to know more? Oh, Don Jr. doesn't know anything about it. I'm not an accountant. I'm a business guy.
I'm a business guy who had his elbows soldered together, and now...
Don Jr. tried to defend himself with what sounded like common sense. Trust the experts, blame the paperwork. But Jimmy turned that logic on its head. If patients can't be blamed for trusting their doctors, does that mean executives can't be questioned for signing off on millions? It was a collision of courtroom logic and late-night timing.
I wonder what's going through his head right now.
I should have worn makeup.
Oh, yeah, good one. Here's the thing about Don Jr. What he lacks in intelligence, he also lacks in charisma.
And when Jimmy delivered that line, you could almost hear the jury of late-night viewers nod in unison. Don Jr. came to defend his father. What he ended up defending was a foundation. But if you thought Don Jr. had it rough, wait until you see what happened next. Because right after that, the spotlight hit Trump himself, and what started as a courtroom slip turned into a full-blown anthem. Brace yourself.
The only thing that would make it worse is if somebody changed the lyrics to a song by his beloved Village People to drive it home.
Taco, taco man. I want to be a taco man. To be a taco, taco man. Yeah. I've got to be a taco. Taco, taco man. I want to be a taco man. Taco man. I've got to be a taco.
Hey, he wanted to be a macho man. We got Taco Man instead. This could be the new YMCA. They can play it at rallies. You can do TACO. Right?
When Jimmy said this could be the new YMCA, he wasn't joking. Within hours, Taco Man wasn't just a remix. It was a movement, a parody anthem, choreographed humiliation, and possibly the first time a presidential ego got roasted to a disco beat. And the worst part is it stuck. And hey, if that taco song's been stuck in your head since he sang it, go ahead and hit like you're not alone.
Yesterday, he blew up at a reporter because she asked him about a new nickname that's been making the rounds on Wall Street. They're calling him Taco, which is an acronym for Trump always chickens out. Taco. And you're not going to believe it. He doesn't like the nickname at all. She asked it, he called it a nasty question, but it seems there's been an outpouring of taco-themed AI on social media featuring our Crunchwrap Supreme Leader in all manner of chicken garb, rooster hair, and this master five-piece family meal, all in celebration of our El Pollo Loco.
The name stuck for a reason. Taco Trump always chickens out. It started as Wall Street slang, but once Jimmy said it out loud, the internet turned it into a festival. He called it nasty, Twitter called it dinner, and when AI got involved, the rebrand was complete. Full chicken armor, rooster hair, and a leader who once ruled headlines now wrapped in lettuce.
You call that chickening out? 6 months ago, this country was stone cold dead. We had a dead country. We had a country people didn't think it was going to survive, and you ask a nasty question like that. It's called negotiation, but don't ever say what you said. That's a nasty question.
So Trump did exactly what everyone expected. The nickname was silly. The question was simple, but Trump turned it into a crisis, complete with resurrection outrage and, of course, a warning. Because if there's one thing he never chickens out of, it's overreacting. As you can see, every clip featured here aired publicly and speaks for itself. No edits, no embellishments needed.
But according to the story, in 2018, Donald Trump, who was at that time president of the United States, was so upset about my jokes that I made about him, he directed his staffers at the White House to call Disney to tell them to rein me in. The report says at least 2 calls were made from the Trump White House to, quote, convey the president's anger regarding Kimmel's monologues and jabs. In other words, President Karen demanded to speak to my manager.
While Trump was busy live posting his foreign policy, another truth came out, one that hit a little closer to Hollywood. It turns out when the jokes got too sharp, he didn't just lash out on stage. He picked up the phone, and the call didn't go to Iran. It went to Disney.
Donald Trump, who was at that time president of the United States, was so upset about my jokes that I made about him, he directed his staffers at the White House to call Disney to tell them to rein me in. The report says at least 2 calls were made from the Trump White House. And I had like 80 texts when I woke up sending me this article from Rolling Stone. It says, Trump White House pressured Disney to censor Jimmy Kimmel. Now, Disney is the company that owns ABC, our network, and Jimmy Kimmel is me.
So here it is confirmed by Rolling Stone and delivered straight from Jimmy. When Trump couldn't take the heat, he didn't log off. He called headquarters. The man with nuclear codes used his power to try and cancel a late-night monologue twice. And in the end, the joke didn't stop. It just made the front page.
Wow, what a plot twist. The first time Donald Trump ever tries to stop someone from talking about him on television, and it's me. Usually when he wants somebody to stop talking about him, he pays them $130,000, but he wanted me to do it for nothing. I wonder what it was. I also want to point out the Oscars were more than 6 months ago. He's still stewing over this joke. He keeps bringing it up, which I don't mind at all. In fact, I love it. I just wish he would quote it correctly. I didn't say, ha, 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 he thinks he bothers me.
He tried to shut Jimmy down, but instead of silence, what he got was a microphone and a memory. One that doesn't forget who pays hush money and who just can't take a joke. 6 months later, Trump's still fuming, Jimmy's still laughing, and now the whole country's listening.
Jimmy Kimmel is every night, he hits me, I guess. His ratings are terrible. He's not a talented guy. I hear he hits me all the time, so I figured I'd hit him because I thought he was a lousy host.
See if you can guess which former president just posted that on Truth. Anyone? No? Well, thank you, President Trump. Thank you for watching. I'm surprised you're still... Isn't it past your jail time? I guess I should be honored that the former president of the United States took time out of his busy schedule Googling Ivanka in bikini to rant about me, but...
And just like that, Trump tried to clap back, but ended up proving Jimmy's point. While Trump fumes, Jimmy just leans in, cracks a smile, and the crowd does the rest. No yelling, no insults, just one joke, and silence never felt so loud. Trump's tantrum didn't end there. As the cameras rolled on, the ripple effect started crashing into courtrooms, trade talks, and headlines across the globe while Trump fumes over jokes. The Supreme Court just reignited a national firestorm. According to AP News, the court rejected 2 major gun rights cases. Yet 4 conservative justices openly questioned whether AR-15 bans are even constitutional. Justice Thomas warned, "I would not wait to decide whether the government can ban the most popular rifle in America. The divide is deep, and it's only getting louder." While Trump was busy preaching America first, the global auto giants were quietly doing something else, putting China first.
See, we have a new round of randomly levied tariffs. This morning, the White House doubled tariffs on aluminum and steel. Well, he did promise to stop the steal. And The president has now slapped a 50% tariff on metals. Experts say higher prices for us are inevitable. We should expect to pay more for construction, for cars, even appliances. He's taking us to the cleaners. Literally, soon we will not be able to afford a washer or dryer. There's no plan, unless you consult the MAGAverse, in which case there is and was definitely a plan.
I think he's had a plan all along, David, and I think we're seeing it play out.
This was his strategy all along.
This was the plan all along.
Was that his plan all along? It certainly looks like it.
This is the plan that he was pursuing all along.
I mean, you're watching the art of the deal in real time here.
Well, if that was the plan, congratulations, because in 1 week the plan lost $6 trillion and every country in the world hates us now.
According to AP News, instead of bringing factories back to America, companies like Toyota, Nissan, and Volkswagen are now doubling down on China, expanding operations, and launching EVs for China from China. Even Nissan's China chief quipped, "They're making cars for every country except one. You can guess which. Trump's tariffs didn't stop the exports. They just rerouted the money elsewhere." In the words of analyst Jolie June, this is survival of the fittest, and it looks like the U.S. under Trump's trade war got left in the dust. From the courtroom to the car market to the Supreme Court, the chaos Trump left behind wasn't just political. It's structural, and as the dust settles, what remains is a trail of consequences no slogan can spin away.
I mean, Donald Trump has said I'm not talented so many times, Erica's starting to get jealous, but what he doesn't realize is that I love this. I love that this bothered him so much. I love that Fox picked a news guy nobody knows to interview him, and I especially love when he tries to spin the fact that everyone was laughing at him into a positive. The fact of the matter is, this is a dangerous person, this is a stupid person, and that's a bad combination, and I think what we're forgetting, I keep forgetting it.
And maybe that's the real punchline. Trump wasn't just rattled by the jokes. He kept watching, kept stewing, and kept proving Jimmy's point with every interview, every spin, every outburst. Jimmy didn't just get under his skin, he moved in, but beneath the laughter, the tension snaps back into focus. As Jimmy puts it, this isn't just about ego or ratings. This is about a man with power-thin skin and no brakes, and in a country still recovering from the damage that's not just. Ridiculous is dangerous from a birthday parade soaked in ego to A. Phone call from the White House trying to muzzle a late night. Host, this wasn't just another Trump tantrum. It was a full-blown collision between comedy and power, where every punchline hit a nerve, and every reaction proved the point. The deeper story here isn't just about one man's inability to take a joke. It's about what happens when those in power treat criticism like betrayal and satire like subversion. Whether it's Jimmy Kimmel, Toyota, or even the Supreme Court, what we saw was a pattern of resistance met with retaliation, and maybe that's the real warning. You don't have to love late-night comedy, and you don't have to agree with every verdict or trade decision. But in a healthy democracy, scrutiny isn't sabotage, it's survival. This video features commentary based on publicly available televised segments from Jimmy Kimmel and widely covered media reports involving Donald Trump Jr. and President Donald Trump. All references are drawn from verified sources, public commentary, and broadcast content. No private information or speculative claims are presented. This content complies fully with YouTube's community guidelines and fair use policy for the purposes of political commentary, satire, and public interest. If this gave you something to think about or just kept you watching, feel free to subscribe for more. Thanks for being here.